let me take a selfie. Like, oh my gosh, I need this now. I need a selfie.
Did I say hit play? Pause that.
Oh, baby, what are you about? Is this about that stupid cutting-edge selfie contest? Come here, baby. Let's take a selfie.
So I was just living life, and the haters, they were like, hate, 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 and the fakers were like, fake, fake, fake. So I was just gonna shake, shake, shake. But first, let me take a selfie. Do you wanna take a selfie? It doesn't have to be a selfie.
Go away, Melissa!
Who gonna take this selfie?
Ain't nobody gonna take this selfie but me. I'm gonna take this selfie, okay? You may take your own selfie, but I'll take my own, okay?
Who gonna take this selfie?
No. Listen, sugar, okay? I'm gonna take this selfie, okay? It's my selfie, ain't no groupie, it's a selfie.
So we all go to Wang Sushi, and I'm like, make sure they put extra chopsticks in our bag. So then we look in the bag, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, they forgot our chopsticks. So now we have to go back to Wang Sushi. This is a disaster. First though, let me take a selfie.
So I was all like at the deeper walk, and suddenly I got a Facebook message, and it was all saying like, challenge you to do the ice bucket challenge. And I was like, no way. And then after we learned about Jesus, I was like, I'm gonna do the ice bucket challenge. And then suddenly I was outside dumping cold water all over myself. John, I'm so getting you back. But first, let me take a selfie.
So I was in the zoo and I was looking at the monkeys, and the monkeys are so cute. But they were all like, ooh, I'm scratching my butt. But so gross. But first, let me take a selfie.
So I'm walking around the mall, and Joanne Flynn comes with me. And she gets on me and asks to marry me. I'm like, the heck no! I want to take a selfie.
One day, I was at the zoo, and I had a really bad itch. So I started scratching that itch, and Deanna thought I was a monkey. But first, let me take a selfie.
So I wanted a cup of Starbucks, so I was like, I'm gonna go get some Starbucks. So I went to go get a $5 cup of coffee, and the woman goes, Java chip frappuccino for John. I was like, oh, I'm gonna take this, but first, let me take a selfie.
So I was just trying to be good friends. So I offered John some of my pumpkin spice latte, and you know what he did? He drank it all. And then he was like, Amy, I'm gonna get you another one. And I was like, okay. And then he didn't. And now I'm really mad. But first, I need to take a selfie.
So I have to do this thing for ministry. It's a requirement, and I hate this stuff, but
So I was in church, and I was just sitting there listening to the sermon, and I was like, John, it's
take a
selfie?
selfie.
So I walk in the room, and Jaden has like poop everywhere. And I looked at him, and I knew I had to clean it up. But first, let me take a selfie.
Alright, so I went up to Truth Quest, and then there was like all these middle schoolers, and they're like, yeah! And I was like, yeah! It was a disaster, because it was Truth Quest. But first, let me take a selfie.
This is a restaurant. I was about to tell the waitress, come here and take my plates from me and refill it with lots of food. And she was all like, no, and I was like, why? Oh, it was marvelous. I then hunted her down. I was going to saran wrap her car. But first, I wanted to take a selfie.
This is Laura, the L-A-R-A, with no H, because H is our L. And this is my friend Monica.
Hi. So I was at Starbucks, and I got a frappuccino.
Did it even have wet cram?
Of course.
Ew!
I took a sip and I got burned from. My arm was frozen. It was so ill.
Let's have an L speed round.
Teleportation scalps.
Ew.
Lambs.
Ew.
Phone tables.
Ew. What about selfies?
Yuck.
But first, let's take a selfie.
Okay, good. John, what's wrong with that?
I don't know, I'm taking a selfie. You're gonna stand there, you're gonna stand in the stack.
Don't talk to me like that.
Just let me take a selfie.
No.
Let me take a selfie.
So I had like a 17-hour shift, and so I needed to go and stop and get some coffee first because I was gonna fall over. And then I did fall over, and I spilled the coffee everywhere. So let me take a selfie
me and my friends
first.
were going to this Brazilian barbecue. We were like, hey, you can feed 10 guys, right? Because we eat a lot of food. And they were like, yeah, we got you. So we went, we ate for 3 hours, and then we tried to leave, and they were like, hey, thanks for coming, but don't come back. And we were like, all right, fine, but first, let me take a selfie.
So I'm missing the selfie sermon because I had to sign up for this stupid safety course at school so that I can park in my own parking lot at my own school. But first, let me take a selfie.
Okay, and just take this selfie.
Let me take another selfie.
And where's Pastor Walk gonna be?
He's gonna be right there with me. He's pretty fit.
We cheered him on.
Hey!
For real, I'm gonna get a selfie Pastor Wall.
No,
I thought it was on before.
So I was just trying to sleep in my bed, but my cat was started puking hairballs all over my pillow, and then my cat started peeing in my clean clothes. Like, ew! But first, let me take a selfie.
And I was at work, and if Lady wanted to replace her broken iPhone that she ran over got wet and dropped in the toilet. But first, let me take a selfie.
You guys, I picked a selfie. Just kidding. I have selfies for days.
Thou hast slayeth the dragon. Thou shalt claim his body as a trophy. But first, I must taketh thy selfie.
Knock, knock.
How's that?
Olive,
I love hell.
I love you. But first, let me take a selfie.
Okay, great. I love selfies.
Hello? Hello? This is Kermit the Frog! This is Kermit the Frog! The real Kermit the Frog! Wait, before we continue this argument any further, let me take a selfie.
Go. Take a selfie, 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 take a selfie.
So I went to the Atlanta Zoo because they're one of the few places that have pandas in the United States. And when I got there, I bulldozed over children. And when I saw the pandas, I was like, ah! Pandas! Oh my god, pandas! And I cried tears of joy with my face up against the glass. And when security tried dragging me away, I was like, wait! First, let me take a selfie.
The other day, I was like spending time with Jesus, and then I was like, yo, Rob Gaffney, let's totally go surfing. The waves are bizarre today. So we paddle out, and there was this totally rad set. So I dropped into the swell, and I was like, let me take a selfie. And then my phone fell into the water, and a shark came up and ate it. And I was like, bro, no more selfie.
Do you want to take a selfie? It doesn't have to be a selfie.
I am in the bathroom!
Okay, bye.
Are you ready for this? There are psychologists, psychiatrists, and scientists who take their time to analyze selfies, which in my opinion is a little strange. Because why can't you just enjoy the phase and be a part of it and move on? But no, they want to like analyze it. So there's this guy at Duke University. If you don't know about Duke University, that's a big university. That's not something you just get into with like a low GPA, okay? His name is Mark Leary. He spent his whole like educational time focusing on the science of selfies. Other ones focus on, I don't know, world hunger in Africa, but he focused on the selfie. That's where his passion is, okay? That's where the world's going. So he did that, and I don't really understand. And he basically, like, we're not going to get into this, but he basically, like, analyzed, like, you know the whole head tilt thing, how that kind of took it by storm? He, like, analyzed everybody's, like the percentage of people who, like, do a certain angle, and in my opinion, that's getting stalkerish now. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Moral of the story, if a guy from Duke University who claims he's a professor follows you on Instagram, don't, like, just block him, okay? Because he's, like, stalking the way you tilt your head, and that's just not appropriate, okay? But he basically did this study, and he found out who the first person to ever take a selfie was. And I just think that we need to know these things, okay? I understand we need to know, like, when the country started and all the presidents' names and all that, but we also need to know when the first selfie was. What year do you think it was? Give me a year. Go for it. 2004.
45 BC.
What? Whoa. What? 2008. 2007. You ready for this? Okay.
1865.
The first technical. What, Dan?
1865.
Okay, 1904. Here we go. You ready? You laugh, but you ready for this? It wasn't called a selfie, but technically a selfie is anyone who's taking a picture of themselves, yes? The first selfie was, you ready? 1839.
I was supposed to say.
Of course it was not called a selfie yet. It was from a guy named Robert Cornelius. You want to put him up? Check out that hairstyle. He's coming back.
Good looking.
Okay. What did you say? That's you? What did you say? All right, wait. Basically, this guy was like super into pictures, which stinks for him. Leaders, help me out. Okay. Which stinks for this guy because he was really into pictures because he was totally born in the wrong time era. He should have been born now. All of his friends are like, that Cornelius guy keeps taking pictures of himself. He's a little narcissistic. But there he is. Obviously it wasn't called a selfie then, but he did this thing where like he could come behind the camera and it was enough shutter time where he did this thing with like reflection on a tin. I don't really know, but there it is. Then they found out that the first use of the word selfie, like selfie, you ready? I thought, oh, maybe it was like the makers of Instagram, maybe even the makers of Facebook, maybe it's just a really cool teenager, I don't really know. You ready? It's from a drunk Australian guy. He got really drunk, and he was walking out of he was in Australia, so they call it the pub. He was walking out of the pub, and he fell and busted his lip. And it was in 2002, and he was blogging, because back in 2002, people blogged. So he was blogging about it, and he was like, here's a picture of my busted lip. It's gonna be like busted forever, but I'm sorry about the exposure. It was a selfie, and he was so drunk out of his mind, he didn't know what he was saying, but it like caught on, you know what I mean? And so the internet was like, selfie, 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 you know what I mean? So this does not mean that you can go out and get drunk so you can go create new words that will take over the world. Because at the end of the day, he didn't get paid for using the word selfie, and he's got a busted lip for the rest of his life like an idiot, okay? But we can laugh about it right now. So that's the first time that was used, and then it wasn't used as a hashtag until Instagram came out. In 2011, a girl named Jennifer was the first person who ever hashtagged the word selfie. Don't you feel better knowing this? Like, don't you like, yeah, this is so much more important than what I learned in algebra today, right? Okay. I'm kidding, school's important, but this is important too. What gender do you think takes more selfies, guys or girls? Guys! Who says guys? Raise your hands. Guys, okay, down here. Who says girls? It is girls. Okay. That doesn't mean that guys don't take selfies. They actually take more selfies as they get older. Well, John, you are the guy population when it comes to selfies. You take everyone's phone and take selfies on it. I had more pictures of selfies of you when you stole my phone than my own selfies when I tried to send Jordan selfies. Just FYI. All right, if you're around John for too long, he will take your phone and take a selfie. 24 is the average age of taking a selfie. So as a 24-year-old woman, I don't really take that many. I take like a normal amount, but I'm not like every day, you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. And then the biggest thing that they figured out this year that took everything by storm, I personally do the first one without knowing I'm doing it, but it's the head tilt thing and the duck face thing. So everybody give me your best head tilt and the duck face thing. There you go, Anna's was good. Yours is cute, I like that, that's good. Not bad jokes. Okay, all right. Now you ready for this? This is crazy. I can kind of care less about all the analyzation of why selfies happen and all that. I can care, you know. It's a phase, whatever. It's all cool. We all do it. Most of us, anyway. But do you know if there's a thing called the Selfie Olympics? What? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can we throw up some pictures from the Selfie Olympics of 2013? Here we go. Now, you laugh. Let me tell you something. Hold on.
That's what I want to do.
Hold up. The winner of the selfie contest gets $5,000. So a few of you who 3 seconds ago thought this was stupid, now you like want to do it. You're like, 5 G's, I'm going to do this. Can we I don't know what I'm saying. Can we analyze this for a second? You ready? Now this woman, God bless her heart, but I have no idea what's going on over here. Top corner. Then you got this guy, who really fascinates me the most, the one who's mowing the lawn in the bathroom. He took, it's a towel that he put on the linoleum. Now my question is, when his dad walks in the room, on the Saturday morning he chose to do this. He's like, Jimmy, you're supposed to be mowing the lawn. Why are you mowing the linoleum around the toilet? Like what does he say? Like, Dad, it's for this, in the Olympics, Dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just different. That one up there with the dirt bike is actually really cool. Now this one, if you don't realize, this is the Pope. Right here. So, I was telling someone today, I don't care what you believe, if you can get a selfie with the Pope, I mean, that's a story right there, you know what I mean? So I give those guys props. This one is actually cool on the bottom with the guy with the screens. I give him, that takes thought, you know what I mean? Not just, let me jam my lawnmower into my bathroom, you know what I mean? Like, that's actually pretty cool.
That takes thought.
This girl is taking one with her toe. I don't know if we should call it a foot doctor or if we should just say she's really cool. Now this one, I had to put up, does that not look like Andrew Shuffle? Yeah. Where is Monica? That's not him, right? No. Okay. Because it looks a little like him, and I know in Tulsa they have cool buildings, so I don't know. I mean, whoever did that, I think they photoshopped it. But it's still really a cool picture. and it looks just like Andrew, like when he had different hair. So I was like, that's it. And the dog probably has more money than you and me, because if he won money from this contest, he has like 5 Gs, and I don't have 5 Gs, you know what I mean? So there's a dog out there who's richer than all of us. So there's that. So I don't know when the next one is. You can find that out on your own time. All right, you can go back to slide 4. Don't you feel enlightened? I feel enlightened. All right. So hopefully you guys aren't following necessarily the strange people who do things like this. But if you have Instagram, most likely you're following your friends. I hope you're following your friends. That would be a good thing to do. Or you're following like maybe some celebrities, some bands, some fandom things. I don't care. That's cool. That's what Instagram's for. I do it too. That's pretty cool. I don't know about you though. If we're not careful, we can get a little caught up sometimes. And you might say, oh no, well I'm really mature. I don't do that. I don't really know who. Like I don't care what age you are. If you're doing homework, or if you're like me and I'm working on a sermon, or if you're somebody else. You cannot tell me that if you're like doing your math homework and your mom comes in the room and you're doing this. She's like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm working on my math homework. This is clearly not a it has a calculator, but this motion is not using your calculator, you know what I mean? And you kind of just get sucked into it sometimes. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, sometimes you can be having a really cruddy day. And do you ever just go on Instagram when you're having a cruddy day and it seems like no one else is having a cruddy day? And you're like, what is happening? Like, why are they taking a hike in the woods at some awesome like country and I'm doing math homework? You know what I mean? Or like, have you ever had like, say it's a rainy day? I don't take selfies on rainy days because it's a rainy day. And my hair, if you're Italian like me, your hair is gonna frizz up on a rainy day. You just gave me this great look, Craig. I love you. You're like, I understand. And normally if I'm lucky, I'm wearing like sweatpants on a rainy day. I'm not taking a selfie during that time. But then you go on Instagram, or even if you don't like Facebook or whatever, and it's like your friend just took an awesome picture of like the clouds. You're like, how did those clouds look so good on a rainy day? The clouds over my house looks like crap. You know what I mean? Or like, it's raining and one of your friends took like a jog in the rain and they like took a selfie like, it was so refreshing. And their hair's like all perfect and you're like, I don't look like that on a sunny day. Like I don't understand what's going on here. You know what I mean? And we have that, And I was thinking about that, and like even with even things that are not like that, sometimes you just feel like everybody's happy all the time. They're eating this burrito, and it looks so much better than the burrito that I got the other day, you know what I mean? Or, look, they're on that date with that person that I was supposed to be dating. I'm so excited for them, not really, you know what I mean? Or, oh, they got to vacation in Disney for the 1700th time, I've never been, that's cool, you know what I mean? Melissa, that was not towards you, by the way. Where'd she go? Is she here, or is she in the kitchen? I'm over here. Oh, you're over there? Hey. No, Melissa goes to Disney a lot, and I've never been, but that genuinely was not towards you. In your lifetime, twice a year. Well, I'm 24 years behind you, my love, okay? But that's not towards you. But we have these things, right? And I don't know about you, but sometimes what is our response to those things? We say, well, wait a minute. I should get myself on the map here. I gotta start taking some selfies. I gotta take a picture of my Taco Bell burrito. I'm not gonna tell everybody that I was sick for 3 hours after I ate the burrito, but I'm taking a picture of the burrito, you know what I mean? Melissa and I did go to Taco Bell the other day. We had kind of an emotional day, so what fixes it? Food that tastes like crap, right? So we went, and it wasn't good. It wasn't a good day for me at the end, but it was great at the moment, right? So you take pictures of this, you know what I mean? Or you just start taking pictures of yourself, and I'm not saying that the selfies don't look great. I'm not saying that your friends' selfies don't look great that they post. It's just the 50 selfies before the one you post that you don't want anyone to see, right? Because you're like, well, this isn't how I wanted it to be, you know? And after all of the cropping and the angling, because I can't take if I take a picture down here, I'm gonna look like I have like 500 chins. That's not appropriate. You know what I mean? So, you gotta like angle it a certain way, and your head tilt, and your duck face, and whatever else you wanna do, you know? And all the filters, I love the filters though, I do. The first day I got Instagram, where is Laura and Monica? You guys are there. Was it you guys? The first day, oh, it was you? I'm so sorry. It was Amy, apparently. Amy and Laura, or Amy and Monica? Monica and Laura weren't even there? Okay, whatever. I got an Instagram like January of this year. I purposely didn't get one till later on in life because I was like, I'm not in the mood. And when I got it, the first thing you guys were like, we have to show her Nashville and Mayfire. Like the you know, like the filters. If you don't have Instagram, a filter is simply like what makes your picture look so much better than what it actually is. If you're like me and didn't get a chance to go to the beach a lot this summer, I had to do a lot of filtering this summer that made me look like I was tan when I totally was. I know some of you are like, Pastor Gab, you are tan, you have olive skin. No, this is white for me, okay? So I was like, oh, I need, not 1977, I'll tell you that much right now. Looks like I just came out of a spray tan place. Like, what is that about? Anyway, so, you know, you have these filters, and after you see all these people with these filters and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with Instagram. It's actually, I like it a lot better than Facebook and all that good stuff. But after you see all these people with the cropping and the filtering and the this and the that, and then you try to respond and you take your selfies and you do this and you do that, after a while, it all gets kind of, what's the word?
Overdone?
Wow. Overdone, yes. What? Irrelevant, absolutely. Boring, yes. What? Repetitive, absolutely. What? Oh, I thought you said jumbo. Jumbled, yes. Yeah, so it gets like that. And I guess my question for you tonight is, even if you don't have an Instagram or a Facebook, what is your filter? And I don't mean, well, thank you. I don't mean the Instagram one. I'm talking about life. You're saying, I don't understand what you mean. This is what I mean. You okay, David?
I said it in the Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, nice. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I got that.
So what is your filter? And what I mean by that is this. If we're not careful in life, put Instagram aside for a second. Put everything else aside for a second. In life, you ever walk into a room and everyone's just happy? And you're like, I'm not happy today. But gosh, they seem excited. What are they excited about? You know what I mean? I had a crappy day. It doesn't seem like anybody else did, you know? So if we're not careful, we end up putting up this persona or this mask or a filter. That's what we're gonna call it tonight, is a filter. And we can say, you know what, I'm fine. You know what I mean? We can have the filter of, I've had a crappy day, but I don't really want anyone to know that. And sometimes that's wise. You know, you can't really announce from the rooftop, hey, I just, you know, failed every grade in school. Everyone should know about it. I get, you know, you don't want to, like, it's smart to not tell the world, but you want to at least be yourself, and you feel like you can't. So you end up putting up this filter, and you're like, I got it, I'm fine, it's good. Or maybe it's a different type of filter, kind of like, I'm with my guy friends, and it's cool, and I want to follow after God, but they kind of don't, so I kind of just need to put up this filter of, I'm a little cooler than that, bro, and I don't really need any of that. So here's my filter of, I got this. You know what I mean? When deep down, other things are going on. Or maybe this filter of, it got quiet in here. Or maybe this filter of, maybe someone you love passed away. Or maybe you broke up with somebody and you genuinely didn't want to do that. Or maybe you never broke up with somebody, but you're just really lonely. And you just don't want to tell anybody because you just don't want them to like take it the wrong way and make it worse for you. So you kind of just put up this filter of, I'm the happiest person in the world. Or you go the opposite way and you put up this filter of, I don't need anybody. Because I've been hurt so many times, I'm just going to keep everybody at like an arm's length. And that's your filter. You put this filter of, if I do this right, if I act happy enough, if I act cool enough, if I act strong enough, if I act whatever you put in the blank enough, maybe they'll like me. Maybe they'll want to be my friend. Maybe I won't be viewed as a loser. And I don't care if you're 11 in the room or if you are 45 in the room. Pete, you're younger than 45, right? You are? You're not? You are? Yes? Okay. Pete's like, I am right now. But it doesn't matter what age you are. Every person goes through that on some level. Even if you're a leader in this room and you're like, well, I'm a leader. I should have this together by now. So I need to put up this filter of, I got my life under control. You know what I mean? Or maybe you're like, well, I've been a Christian forever. So I have to put up this filter of, I know the Bible really good. Or I want to be in ministry, so let me put up this filter of, I got every answer in the book. None of us have every answer in the book. But we do this to ourselves. We keep saying, oh, I got this, I got that. I need to appear perfect. When none of us are. Is this making sense to you guys? Yeah. Okay. So my question for you guys, we talk about, woo, I'm dropping things left and right today. That's okay.
my question for you guys is, are you afraid of what people are actually going to see when they see the real you? You know, there's a big thing right now with the whole no filter needed thing if you're on Instagram. That sometimes makes you feel worse in life because they're like, I'm on top of the Adirondacks, no filter needed. And I'm like, well, here are my McDonald's fries. I totally need a filter. You know what I mean? But that's a big phase right now. Yeah, I know, it stinks, right? So in life, if you didn't have your filter on, if you didn't have your mask on, if you didn't have your persona on, are you afraid of what people are going to think about you? And I can't always say that people are going to treat you perfectly. I'm not even going to be able to say that everyone in this room is going to be able to treat you perfectly, though we try to love everybody and make everyone feel welcome. But what about when it comes to God? When you're with God, some of you are new in this house tonight. That's totally cool. We're so happy you came and checked us out tonight. Maybe you don't know God very well. That's totally cool. But regardless of whether you've known God since you were a fetus or if you don't know him at all, well, you have. So anyway, David Clunder laughs. You've known him since you were born. But it doesn't matter where you are at in the room. What do you think God sees when he sees you? Because I'm a pastor, and if I'm not careful, I'll put up a filter with God. I'll be like, well, I'm a pastor. I have to have this correct. I can't be angry about my situation in life. I'm going to go to the Lord and say, God, this is hard, but thank you, Lord, for the faith, and we're just believing on you, Jesus, and that's it. But meanwhile, God's like, the word says, the Bible says, pour out your heart to me. God actually wants to hear what you're struggling with. God actually wants to hear what you're angry about. If you're angry and if there's sin, of course, he wants you to be able to change that and move forward and grow and not stay in the place you're in. But he wants you to be yourself in front of him. And sometimes I think, especially in today's culture where we're so bombarded with, be perfect, be perfect, be perfect, be perfect, look like this, do this, act like this, do this, work out more, lose more weight, gain more weight if you're a guy, lose more weight if you're a girl. That's totally unfair, by the way. This, get good grades. Don't get too much of good grades because then they're going to make fun of you. You better be talented, but don't be too talented because then you're going to get made fun of. You better like to have music, but the right music, and if you're going to have a different kind of music, you better hang out with the correct people. And you can go to church if you want because we respect that you believe in God, but don't believe in God too much because we actually don't like God in this world and blah, 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 blah. And if you're not careful, you become this person that's not you. You become this non-version of you. You become this reality that's not actually reality. You get what I'm saying? And if we're not careful, that's kind of what happens. I'm thinking it through what I want to tell you guys next, because I think I'm going to take it in a different direction. We're talking about God, right? And what he thinks about you. And some of you in this room, you've never thought that God might actually like you. I want to share with you guys a verse. And it's in Genesis, which is a very old book. And it says, you ready? Genesis 1:5. It says, when God created human beings, he made them to be just like himself. That's a cool version of that verse, isn't it? When God created human beings, he made them to be just like himself. That tells me, that tells you, that when God made you, yes, you sitting in the chair, he already made you the way that you are. And not only that, he made you just like him. To me, that sounds like he wants you to be part of his family. Because I look a little bit like a mix between my mom and my dad. I can't run from that, but I totally look like a mix of them. I don't look like my dad or my mom. Jordan, you look like a mix of your family, right? You always say, yep, it's a mix. Some of you look like just like one side. I'm like a mix, okay? You can't run from that. Even if you don't have a great relationship with some of your parents. You only have two. But I mean, like, one of the two. If you don't even have a good relationship with them, you know what I mean? Like, you look like that. That's because you're part of the family. When God made you, he made you to look just the way you are with the personality traits that you have. And I don't care if you've been in the church forever. You need to always be reminded of this. So with the same likes and dislikes, and even the weaknesses that you have, because his word says that his power is made perfect in weakness. So he knows what even your weaknesses are, and he's okay with that. And another verse says, later on in the Bible, in 2 Corinthians, it says, so all of us who have had that veil removed. What's the veil? That means sin. So let's just replace that with the word sin. So all of us who have had the sin removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. So what does that mean to me? That means that when God made you, he made you into his image. But when you come to know him, you get to be looking even more like him. That means you come to him, crap and all, weaknesses and all, pain and all, hurt and all, and he accepts you. And then after you go to him, he changes you to look like him even more. And can I be really honest in the room, what I'm feeling kind of in the room tonight? There's like a lot of chatter, and I know it's been like a fun night, and there's a lot of you who are like talking, and you're thinking you're cool. And I love you guys enough to tell you that you're doing the exact thing that I was just talking about. Because if you're talking in youth group, that means you don't really care about it, right? And I don't care if you don't like me. I love you guys anyway. And I know some of you might be, listen, when Pastor Jim used to be talking down here, I talked a lot because they don't call me Gabby for nothing, okay? I talk a lot, okay? So I could be talking to the person next to me, Dan, your sister Jess, and sometimes we would be like talking, but I would totally still be listening. So I'm not mad at anybody who happens to be talking, but let me tell you right now, some of you who are talking, there are people around you who actually need to hear this. So I love you enough to tell you, stop, okay? Do you know I love you? Yeah. Thank you. I have one point that I really want to tell you guys tonight. This is going to sound really cheesy, but I feel like it's just like the point of the night that I need you guys to know. If God had an Instagram, which is really silly, but let's just bear with me for a second, he would be posting pictures of you all the time, and there would be no filter needed. Because he would want to tell the world, hey, look at my son over here. He's really cool. He works out a lot, or maybe he doesn't, or he has these cool friends, or maybe he doesn't, or he says really funny jokes, or maybe he doesn't. But even if he does or doesn't, he's really respectable just the way he is. He's really cool just the way he is. I wish you could see that. Or hey, look at my daughter. She's beautiful. She's got some makeup on today. She's hanging out with this particular crowd. I wish she would have a different crowd. But even if she took that makeup off, or her new outfit, and changed it for like not as cool of an outfit, I would love her just the way she is, because she's beautiful. No filter needed there. That's what God says about every single one of you, regardless of your age. It can be, because even when you're like an adult, quote unquote, you need to hear that. You know what I mean? And we've talked a lot tonight about we had fun in the beginning, and I know some of you were like, wow, we're talking about selfies and Instagram, all of a sudden we're talking about God and how he sees us. There is nothing wrong with Instagram, there's nothing wrong with social media, unless it's taking up so much of your time that you're not like spending time with the Lord. Keep having whatever you have, as long as you're keeping whatever you're looking at appropriate. Instagram's awesome, keep it, that's totally cool. But tonight, if you're getting it, we're not really talking about Instagram, are we? We're talking about life, and the filters that we put up in life, and how we see ourselves, and most importantly, how God sees us. And with that whole, you guys, it was kind of cool before, because I didn't expect you guys to kind of call out like that, and I liked that when I said, after a while, it kind of becomes, and you guys filled in the blank, and some of you said, like, mundane, and kind of, like, empty, and just kind of, like, boring, and just kind of, like, it just becomes monotonous after a while, the lifestyle that we can lead sometimes. That is so true, because sometimes it just does. And in life, every now and then, putting up the filter just gets tiring after a while, doesn't it? I know it does for me. It's like, if I don't do this a certain way, I get tired, because I'm like, I can't measure up. You know what I mean? And I'm 24, I should have beaten certain things by now. But still, if I'm not careful, I can struggle with, I'm not measuring up. And we can all feel that in some way, shape, or form. And if I'm not careful, we can all become into this different reality, where it's like, my reality is now getting people to love me. My reality is to get that guy's attention. My reality is to get that girl's attention. My reality is to get my parents' approval. My reality is to just be somebody worth loving. I want to read you guys something just in closing. It's actually something that Luke found just this week, right, Luke? Was it this week? And he just shared it with me yesterday, and I didn't even think to use it tonight. And then I went home, I was like, I'm definitely going to use it tonight. And even he said, maybe you should use it tonight. I took him up on it. And I want to read to you guys. It's very small. But somebody wrote this, and he's somebody that, believe it or not, does not know God at all. I shouldn't say it that way. He knows of God, but he's not a Christian at all. Right, Luke? This person is not a Christian. He's adamant about that. But he wrote this story. It's actually a very large book. This is the very end of the book, right? Is this the end of the book or a chapter?
It's a collection of short stories. This is at the end of the book.
This is at the end of the book, okay? This is somebody who does not know God, okay? So I want you to just keep that in mind. This is somebody who has never invited Jesus into his heart. This is just a really nice person, which the world is full of those. You ready? He says, some facts about me. I think I am a broken person. I seriously question the road my life has taken, and I endlessly rehash the compromises I have made in my life. I have an unsecure and vaguely crappy job with an amoral corporation so that I don't have to worry about money. I put up with halfway relationships so as not to have to worry about loneliness. I have lost the ability to recapture the pure feelings of my younger years in the exchange for a streamlined narrow-mindedness that I assumed would propel me to the quote-unquote top. What a joke. Compromise is said to be the way of the world, and yet I find myself feeling sick, trying to accept what it has done to me. The little yellow pills, the lost sleep. But I don't think this is anything new to the world. This is not to say my life is bad. I know it isn't. But my life is not what I expected it might have been when I was younger. Maybe you yourself deal with this issue better than me. Maybe you have been lucky enough to never have inner voices question you about your own path. Or maybe you answered the questioning and came out on the other side. I don't feel sorry for myself in any way. I'm merely coming to grips with what I know the world is truly like. Sometimes I want to go to sleep and merge with the foggy world of dreams and not return to this, our real world. Sometimes I look back on my life and am surprised at the lack of kind things I have done. Sometimes I just feel that there must be another road that can be walked, away from this, either against my will or by default. Now, here is my secret. My secret is that I need God, that I am sick and can no longer make it alone. I need God to help me give because I no longer seem to be capable of giving, to help me be kind as I no longer seem capable of kindness, to help me love as I seem beyond able to love. That was written by somebody who I personally think has a very genuine heart, who's genuinely just being honest about his life. He's not a bad person. He's just saying, listen, I'm caught up in the everyday. I'm caught up in the mundane things. I'm caught up in, hey, if I just get a comfortable job and hopefully have a nice relationship, and I just, am well liked by friends, I'll be okay, right? I mean, he's not a bad person for thinking that. We've all thought that, right? But at the end of it, he's like, wow, this is a little empty after a while. I really need God. So my message to you guys is really simple. Wherever you're at in life, whether you know the Lord or don't, God has a beautiful plan for your life. The way you've been wired, what you like, what you enjoy doing, God put those desires in you, and he wants to use that. For this new school year, guys, he wants people who are comfortable enough in how God sees them that they can then be a light to the people around them. He wants you to be so secure in how he sees you that you're able to turn around to people at your school and show them that love. Because you guys are in this room, and for those of you who are new, don't feel like I have to say this to you because I'm not sure where you are, but for those of you who've been coming for a while, you have the hope of Jesus. The people at your school don't, He wants you to stop listening to what the enemy has told you that you are, accept what God says that you are, and then go out and share that with your friends. You get what I'm saying? It's funny, we use the phrase like, who are you following on Instagram? I personally think that when it comes to life and the filters we use, if I'm not following after God, I have a really horrible view of life. So tonight, I just wanted to give an opportunity for anybody to either follow God for the first time, or if you are like me, or I was laughing with David before, but someone like us who grew up in the church or whatever, you're just like, you know what, I just don't really have the best view of myself, and I'm constantly putting up this filter. I need to be reminded of how God sees me and live that out. Then this night is also for you. So would you guys just close your eyes with me? You don't even have to stand tonight. You do enough walking around in school.